Hey, this is Petoo here. The question of the day is, when you are going for a franchisee, what should you look for? The net margin or the gross margin? So these are the two terms which are like typically exchanged by people when they say what kind of margin I'm going to get in the franchisee model. They are looking at net margin, but people quote gross margin as a concept. So let me help you differentiate two at a root level and help you understand what will make a difference to the business. So gross margin is, let's say you are making a revenue of 100 rupees and the cost of goods sold, the item which you are selling costs you say 50 odd rupees. So 50 rupees is your gross margin. But this whole gross margin doesn't come to your pocket. This is not your take-home profit, right? You have to take care of lots of fixed expenses like paying the rentals, paying the salary, and other fixed expenses which you incur no matter what and no matter how many items you sell. So there are some fixed costs, and this cost which is like cost of goods sold. So if you remove the cost of goods sold, what you get is gross margin. But if you further deduct even the fixed cost out of that, what you get is a net margin. So at the end of the day, you should be comparing two franchisee models based on the net margin, not on the gross margin. So theoretically, a 50% gross margin franchising model can be worse than a 30% gross margin model if in the second case, in the later case, the fixed costs are less, right? So when you're comparing two franchising model, always compare on the net margin. But here is the caveat. Even in terms of the net margin, let's say I ask you a business model, a franchising model with say 20% net margin versus a model with say 30% net margin, which one is good, right? This one caveat here is, if you're comparing in terms of percentages, look at the absolute value of the product. If the ticket size is higher, then even the lower net margin can give you better returns, right? So don't compare just percentage values. If you're comparing two different business models, let's say I'm comparing snacks kind of food category versus a daily full meal kind of category. Full meal will be having a price point of 300 odd rupees, whereas snack will be having say 50 rupees price point, typical ticket price point. If you're comparing net margins of 20% on both, a typical meal will give you better return than a snacks kind of category. So just net margin in terms of percentage will not give you any value add. Look at the absolute value. So say 25% of say 300 rupees is say 75 rupees is what you get, versus if you get say 50% is net profit of 50 rupees is 25 rupees, right? So the first is still better, even if the lower percentage net margin in the previous case. So always compare two franchisee models based on if they are of the same ticket size. Whichever has the high net margin works better. If both have different ticket sizes, look at the absolute net profit that you take home and compare based on that. That's the right way to look at and evaluate two franchisee models.